Hi, I'm Ricky Fort and welcome to the Real Estate 101 podcast. Join me as I lift the lid on the real estate industry and share some great stories from behind the scenes. Like and subscribe and enjoy this episode. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Real Estate 101. My name's Ricky Fort from Geelong Real Estate Co. I've got a very special guest here today, a good friend from Ballarat, mate. He's made the big trip, Sam Young. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Mate.
Thank you so much.
Big bio, we've got to get into you. So yeah, Ballarat boy, ex-real estate agent, entrepreneur, that's a dirty word, but we'll use it. Founding a company called Mirror Merch. So mate, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I'm not sure if we can get the video up, but my boy Sam here's got a very attractive Instagram feed. So some of the highlights, courtside Madison Square Garden, eating spaghetti in Milan, shirt off at Venice Beach. So that's why we wanted visual on this podcast, because Sam's got a pretty good setup. He doesn't mind showing it off.
I actually read these notes and I was like trying to find the photos you were...
You have to go deep. I went deep. I found it all. So standing in the middle of the UFC octagon, again, shirt off at the peak of El
Chalten.
In Argentina?
Yeah, in Argentina.
So, mate, he's done a lot of fun things, but...
I don't know if I had my shirt off, but I was at the top.
He's a good-looking man. So, mate, before we get started, I need to know, are you single and are you ready to mingle?
I'm 100% single.
Ladies, reach out.
I'm definitely ready to mingle.
I love that.
It's been too long.
All right, cool. Mate, let's... I wanted to try and keep you... Because you and I are mates, like, the shit will flow with a lot of ease, but I want to try and keep it on track and unpack it slowly because it's an awesome story. But before we go too far forward, let's go all the way back. So tell us a little bit about, obviously, where you grew up, because one of the things that we talk about constantly is, your circle, and do you come from an entrepreneurial background and stuff like that. So go way back, tell us a bit about, growing up in Ballarat and your family and just your vibe.
Yeah, so Ballarat, many people will be familiar with the place. But yeah, so our family was super tight. So Dad, he was a signwriter. So we lived in this beautiful little house that they purchased when they were actually I think 17 or 18.
Yep.
Run down, and then they just slowly renovated over time.
Yep.
So Dad, was entrepreneur. He kind of did a bit of everything and then started to get into signwriting. So he thought to himself, well, if I can get a can of paint and then paint something on it, he was getting paid to graffiti. So, he obviously the business grew, and he built a shed in the backyard. So
he was doing it from home.
Yeah, doing it from home. So I was super grateful in that sense because we had our dad around all the time. Nice. And it was cool. So as kids, we were growing up, we were hanging out down the shed, seeing him produce all these beautiful signs. And then Mum, on the other hand, she was a hairdresser / mum.
She still does your setup, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah. So
I'm jealous. That's the setup. I don't know if we can get up a photo way back. I used to run the same sort of setup. So, mate, I'm jealous. You can still pull it off.
No, I sacked her for a bit there. And then, when I come back, I've given her trust.
We're on a budget. We're on a budget, man. She does it for free. So,
but again, that was pretty entrepreneurial by her because as kids, before we went to school, we'd be going around to ladies' houses and she'd take all her kit and getting cash in hand, doing ladies' perms in their...
if anyone from the ATO is listening, it's all above board.
Yeah. All cash, straight through the banks. And then, so growing up was pretty cool. And then I had two beautiful sisters, Molly, which you were very familiar with. She's older than me. And then my younger sister, Ruby. Both doing some cool things, which we'll chat about soon. Yep. But it was good. Like, I was just in the zone, just work, not work, school, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
And then,
The reason I ask you about obviously the entrepreneurial thing, I think that goes on to, again, what you and your sisters have done. I think the old saying, like, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So just being surrounded by that, it's not surprising that was enticing to you, and that's what you guys have gone on and done, which is cool. Tell me a little bit, and again, asking about your friendship group in Ballarat, because your story, when we unpack it, is pretty cool, because you've probably... I want to tell your story for you, but you've changed your friendship group. You maybe identified things that you fell into that you wasn't the real you, and you wanted to get away from that sort of thing. So, I guess just tell us a bit about your early teenage years or in your early 20s, partying and
for sure. Like so, growing up, I never had that core group of friends where they were the boys or anything, because I was playing soccer like I had soccer friends like that I'd see on the weekend. Then I'd have school friends, and then I'd have friends from St. Pat's, different schools in Ballarat.
Yeah.
So it was hard because I kind of like floated between everyone. Like I even had Westie friends. Yeah. For those that don't know,
Westies. We need to have a little thing on the screen. Westies are from Wendouree West. I think they're known best. It's like it's essentially Geelong's. Actually, I won't do that. Anyway. It's the less desirable areas and less desirable behaviour types.
More behaviour types. So yeah, I kind of had I don't know. I think I just saw everyone as equal. So I was kind of just chilling with everyone. But then growing up, I probably started to like on the weekends, it just for some reason fell into like that drinking culture. I started drinking pretty young, to be honest. And then, just going to parties on the weekends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, over time, like looking back, like you see a lot of like kids our age that were really good at footy playing Rebels, but then I don't know, for some reason, because we were drinking so much, they didn't really care about their sport and stuff like that. So it kind of did divert us. And I've been trying to unpack that this year, really, in mindset of like, why was I doing that? Why was I attracted to that type of stuff? Because in the moment I thought it was fine and normal.
Yeah, and it probably is normal.
Yeah, but looking back, like the reflection that I've had this year is like I go all in on everything. So looking back, if we were drinking, I'm going all the time. Yeah. So like I would go for 3 days. You know, like I didn't want the party to end because I knew like I had to go to bed and like I'd be chilling for 3 days, just wishing this never ended. Yeah. So looking at like in that frame of mind, like I feel like being that entrepreneurial and wanting to try new things and going all in. Yeah. Unfortunately, some bad things come.
Bad habits.
Bad habits. But I went all in. So
tell us about you, how you transitioned into real estate, because these two stories come together. Obviously, What was your first job out of high school and stuff like that? Obviously, outside of signwriting.
So my first job was straight into signwriting. So I left school when I was 15. Like school just wasn't for me. I actually read my year 7 report yesterday and I'm mortified. So went straight into a full-time gigs, which was different. I wasn't really doing that. Well, my dad was my boss because he obviously welcomed me into the family business. Yeah. And then over time, like I was just so driven by money. And my dad just, in my eyes, came across as poor. Yeah. And it sucks that I thought that, but I thought if I take over this business, I'm not going to
just replicate this.
Yeah, replicate that. And I didn't understand that. Yeah. Now I understand that Dad is so rich in so many ways that I'm like, well, but anyway, I had that thought for a reason because my life turned out exactly how it's meant to be. Yeah. But so then obviously I was always a fan of architecture and beautiful properties, and like I was always watching the real estate shows on TV, like Grand Designs, all that type of stuff. And I just fell in love with that type of product. Yeah. And I remember a couple of boys were like, do you want to come, work? So it was the hardest decision in my life because obviously I had
to leave your dad's business and go into real estate. Yeah.
So Dad was kind of like working out how he was going to give it to me. He was slowing down, and then like I was like, am I doing the right thing?
My heart's not in this. Yeah. I want to do something else.
Yeah. But disappointed in myself because it was based on money. But anyway, went into real estate and absolutely loved it. And
who did you know in the industry that you got into? Like, where did you start?
Yeah, so I started with Sean Toohey. Yep.
Shout out Sean, he's a great bloke.
Yep. And
what company was that with?
Ballarat Property Group. Yep. So I was probably really grateful in the sense that I went under him because he obviously his first boss was Andrew. Remember his name, but he was just such like us, like you, just a genuine dude. Like you didn't have that sales mentality. It was like we're here to be a service and help. And I think that I was so fortunate enough that I got taught real estate that way. Yep. And I just liked that. We could just help people and go from there. And so then like I was going hell for leather on that, and then I snapped my Achilles playing soccer. And it was kind of like a blessing in disguise because I didn't really have any systems that I wanted. Like because I just got thrown in. I was watching like Tom Panos. I was like Josh Fegan. I just had so many things. And then when I snapped my Achilles, it was heartbreaking, but it kind of just stopped me. Yeah. Stopped my life for a second there. And I got to like really just reshape how I wanted to do real estate, because
Yep.
in that time of my life I wanted to be.
Because did
real
you,
estate.
did you go in as a PA or anything like that?
No,
or
straight
no,
into
just
sales.
straight in?
Yep. No leasing or anything, just straight
Yep.
into sales. Yeah, which was cool.
And so you were with Ballarat Property Group for a while, and then
Yep.
then what happened?
Yeah, so then what happened there? So I kind of, I just wasn't, no offense to Ballarat Property Group back in the
This
day.
is why you're on, man. Don't
so
hold punches.
the
Yeah.
branding and stuff didn't align with my vision of like
Yep.
what real estate was. Like, to me, like, I love branding. I love the way things look. I love all that type of stuff, design. And yeah, it was like a lime green, and like we're handing out brochures, and then you see like all these other real estate agencies that have just got on
Yep.
point. And yeah,
Because you're a visual dude,
Yeah.
obviously coming from a visual marketing background, like that's what you do.
So I was just like, oh no, it's not for me. And I didn't want to jump ship, which
Yeah.
is the hardest thing to do in real estate. So I kind of exit for a little bit, and then
So you didn't go from one straight to the other?
I think I had a little bit of a pause.
Yeah.
Just
At least
yeah.
you didn't get sued, because that's like,
Yeah.
that's good.
So, which was tough. I just clicked. And then, so then Tony Douglas, at that time, he had Hocking Stewart in Ballarat.
Yep.
And those guys were the ones that I looked up to.
Yep.
You know, I really appreciated who they were as
Yep.
people.
Yeah.
And
From
their
a branding perspective, yeah.
Exactly. So,
It was a good brand. It's a shame they wound that down. I thought Hocking Stewart was a great
yeah.
brand.
So I had a few meetings with other agencies in town, which I won't name, but I just got bad vibes from them. And
Yeah.
I was just like, nah.
So what sort of bad vibes? Like what?
I felt sorry for their vendors that were sitting. No wonder they're signing forms before
Yeah.
they leave.
Yeah.
Because I felt intimidated.
Yeah.
We all know. Yeah.
As in just like high pressure sales tactics.
yeah.
Like,
It was like, well, why do you want to work for me? Like,
Yeah.
kind of vibe. And I was just like,
yeah.
nah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see me being your friend.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah.
Where Tim and Tone, unbelievable blokes. Like, they don't change when
Yep.
they're in the suit, or if you
They're
see
the
them,
same guy.
they're the same guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, went into Hocking Stewart and just started thriving, just because it was
More in line with your brand.
yeah, more beautiful branding, and then they changed over to Jealous Craig, which was nice again.
Again, that's a great brand. So
Yeah.
Yep.
So and then just kept doing real estate. So yeah,
From a your story's so much bigger than real estate. It's really only a small portion, but I guess what were some of the highlights or lowlights from your real estate career? Like, did you ever have a month where you sold multiple properties in a month, or you got a price point that you're really proud of, or like you overcome something like?
yeah. So
Or is it all a distant memory?
no, like I used to love it, to be honest. Like it was more just like I used to like seeing like a couple buy their first home and
Yep.
like, their plans that were just engaged and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh wow, this is so incredible that
Yeah.
I get to
Be part of it.
hand them their keys to their first house.
Yep.
Going back to my mum and dad, like they started
There.
our
Yep.
family. So I really resonated with that. So it was just like, yeah, it was just a really beautiful thing. So that was kind of like the highs. Obviously the money, like, hitting targets. At the end of the day, I was there to make money as well.
Was there a part where it was pretty financial and hard
Yeah.
to leave the financial side of it?
100%. So that was kind of
Because
like,
it becomes a golden handcuff for real estate. Like once you're earning, 6 figures or like
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and a lot of money is different to everyone, but real estate can be super lucrative and that's, again, we'll go into your story more, but why it's so impressive that you just packed it in and give that away.
but I think that's what I've been kind of sitting with myself this year as well, is like I've been looking at like successful people and artists and stuff like that. And when I dive into their stories, as you said, like when they hit 200K, 500K,
Whatever the number is.
it's still same feeling.
Yeah.
And we're still chasing that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was probably the highs. Like, yeah, I was making, some good coin.
And then the lows, like what is that?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this.
And this is why I like you're a unique guest on the show, because like everyone is got this self-preservation thing and like, or maybe they've still got a foot in the door in real estate and they don't want to talk shit about the industry because in case they want to go back or whereas, I guess you can be real about what the lows are, and I assume yours would be similar to mine, that you got, you got to grovel to people. You got to like take shit from people, and that's the part of real estate that it's not great.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. And that's what I kind of didn't, it affected me emotionally because like obviously I want to take care of everyone. But when you're the middleman between vendor and buyer, the vendor can be the best person ever.
Yeah.
And then change in a second.
Yeah.
And
it's your fault.
And it's your fault. So for an example, I was thinking about this. So say we had a final inspection a couple of days before handover, and you're there with the buyer and they're like, oh, that pile of bricks, can you please get them removed? No worries, done.
Yeah.
You ring your vendor, hey mate, so happy with the house, they're so excited.
They just want
the bricks moved. Yeah, no worries, Sammy, I'll get it done.
Yeah.
To
Then
me,
the day rolls around.
To me, that's fine.
Yeah,
I
hands,
don't think
all
I
good.
need to go check.
Yeah.
Hand the keys over. Congratulations, buyer.
Yeah.
Bang, they're on the phone.
You a-hole.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
The bricks are still there. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
What do you want me to do?
That's what I hated.
Yeah.
And you can't, because it's like, it was such a, just little things like that. I was just really disappointed in. And then obviously sometimes like in real estate, your other staff members, it can get a bit commission hungry and it can get vicious.
Yeah.
So I used to just let it go and just be like, yeah, whatever. But
Or someone's like, that's my client. Or
crazy. Like it's actually so vicious. Like, like certain rules were still like a bit, like if you send, like people would send emails of like list of buyers that they're going to, so if they go through the open house on the Saturday and then they end up buying it, it's theirs. But then you go look at their docu notes and they've just sent them a group text message for the last 6
and yet they want 10 grand for sending someone.
They wouldn't even know what colour hair they've got.
Yeah.
I know. So, but highs and lows. But I used to be super honest. Like if there was a house that like needed restumping, I'll be like, guys, this needs restumping. Like,
do you know what? And I think that's so rare in our industry because everyone's just looks after himself and it's financial. And I reckon that's why you struggled, because you're a good person.
And then the other thing I was thinking about was like, obviously the high of like, congratulations, Ricky, we've got an offer accepted on your house.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, hey Ricky,
they
haven't got their finance.
Yeah.
We need another extension.
Yeah.
Or another extension. Then the buyers are like, anyway, that was heartbreak. So I was
it's
like,
a roller coaster.
I used to be like, look, let's have half a champagne.
Yeah.
Let's get the contracts to sign, but it's not, we won't pop the champagne until it's unconditional.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of highs and lows, and it's just about managing the roller coaster.
Yeah.
But there's no, honestly, man, people think it's a joke. I had a full head of hair and weighed about 15 kilos less than when I got into it. And obviously, but I experienced all the same highs and lows as you, and we still do now. So, but, you know.
But then that's one thing that Tone taught us boys was like when you do have a win, make sure you treat yourself, like whether it's going out for dinner with your partner or just make sure you remember the little wins.
Yeah. Because Cal, who's in the backdrop here, he's just in his first year. I just said to him before we started, I'm like, Sam was the original Cal Broad. So handsome, got it all going on. But yesterday he had his first like actual settlement through. So we went out to Empire Grill. Shout out to Empire Grill. Mean I fillet steak. But went out, had a couple of reds. Reds during the middle of the day just to because you got to celebrate the wins. And I think Cal's similar to you. He's got good mental health practices and stuff like that, and understands the importance of celebrating the wins. So, mate, I guess the next part around, we always talk about, the circle, and you are the 5 people you hang around and stuff. And I guess I'm keen to hear about the point where I've written in the notes here, you snapped. That's probably harsh wording, but just where you realised this isn't me and I want to change of life. And I think you're in the ABC on the news or whatever about, this young real estate agent literally quit, and I'll let you tell the story. But I guess it's a big moment in people's lives, and maybe some people are listening now. But by the way, I wanted to dedicate this episode to Beyond Blue because it's mental health, and as you know, my younger cousin, also named Sam, at 18 committed suicide, and so I know mental health is fucking everything, and that's why I love you so much, because you're so big and everything you've done to help other people in this space. And honestly, you can leave a mark on the world, and this will be yours for sure. It's like everyone, commission's one thing, but changing people's lives and trying to do something a bit more valuable with your life's way more important. So, I guess tell us about when you group changed and when you snapped. And
pretty hectic. So it was 2 incidents, both with police. So the first one was I wrote my car off. So, which wasn't nice. So I had a group car full of my friends, and ended up. Yeah, my heart's racing, talking about it, but still upsets me today. But yeah, anyway, ended up crashing into 2 parked cars, did a runner, and then woke up the next day, realised what I'd done, and ended up going back to the place and knocking on their door and organising tow trucks, all that type of stuff. Anyway, that went down, and then I thought that was like a sign from the universe. Sam, what are you doing? Like,
Pull your head in,
especially in real estate and that type of thing. Like, yeah, it's just not a good look. But I was still caught up with different friendship groups that obviously I felt comfortable with. And then I ended up, New Year's Eve in 2018, I got arrested on New Year's Eve, and so that was pretty heavy for me. And I was sitting in jail in Manhattan, and I just remember sitting there, and I was just like, doesn't matter what, like everything that I've done in my life that I regret and feel guilty for was under the influence. And I just thought everything, and that's kind of when everything shifted. I'm like, I could have 20 Lamborghinis, 1 million houses, so much cash and right in this moment, I've got nothing except for me. And that was like super hard for me. And then I just remember that day, I was like, I'm not drinking this year. Like, I'm done. Like, this needs to change. That rocked me. And it's probably now affected me more than it did in the moment, because I didn't really quite understand what was going on.
It was a catalyst for you to change, but maybe you hadn't like fully processed it.
And that's what I think, I believe, with the universe and the higher self, whatever you want to call it, if you don't change, something will do it for you. And for me, it kind of rattled me a little bit. And then, for that year, I did 365 days full sober.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started to realise, like when I was going to...
I think when I want to jump in, by the sounds of it, this is where your group started to change, because, and I wrote in the notes here, and it's not to be derogatory to your friendship group or mine, but I felt like when I was younger, it wasn't cool to talk about like quitting drinking or mental health or breath work or exercise or seeing a psychologist, or none of that's cool.
Well, I probably didn't even know any of that in that present moment. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like...
I've only discovered it in the last few years, man. So like,
But not drinking, especially in Ballarat, was huge. But for something just come over me, this was like, no, I'm not. And like, I still force myself to go to these soccer functions and stuff like that, and just...
Again, this is why you should be so proud, man, because you're the guy that like can just shake off. I wrote in the show notes again, like Sam Young, and the first word that come to my mind was authentic, because you're the first dude that I know that wouldn't be afraid to like, go to a soccer club and not drink. And everyone's like, why aren't you drinking? You're like, because I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't, it's not right for me. It takes, like, that's so big.
No, I appreciate it. But it was kind of, that's when stuff started that I realised about my mental health. So when I first got there to the first soccer function, I remember I smashed like 6 cans of Coca-Cola in like an hour. And I was like, what the hell? And then I'm like, if that was beer, which I normally would have been, I'd be blind. And that's what happens. I get carried away because I've smashed 6 beers. Then I realised that I had a bit of social anxiety. And like standing around talking to the boys, I just
That's
felt like
so weird, because like you're the opposite. I feel like you've got this aura that like you're a leader, or you're like the alpha. I wouldn't have thought that you'd ever feel that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
You did. Yeah.
I obviously did. Yeah. So then I changed it from Coca-Cola to water.
Yeah.
And then that's when I just used to hold on to one drink bottle and just. But now looking back, I feel like maybe because I'd taken away alcohol, life was showing me where I wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And around the certain environments that I wasn't meant to be. And then that's probably why I felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Was because of that. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, maybe I'm feeling a bit anxious because like it's like my human self was like, Sam, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know? So
I guess does that start to steamroll into like just general health? Like when I guess when you tell people, because you were public, you put it on social that you wanted to aim for 365 days and not drinking, or did it start with a month, or you aim for the full year?
Yeah, full year.
And then obviously this is where, again, I think your circle begins to change, and it's not even by design. People reach out to you and be like, oh, I love that you're doing that. I do that too. Have you ever tried X? Like, have you ever tried exercise or breath work or whatever? All of a sudden, the people that you talk to more regularly, like, I've got friends, Shane Nadal, and they're big on like just health, and they're vegans. Shout out to vegans if you're into that. But like, it's just your group starts to change without you even realizing, and I think that's what's been really impressive watching your group.
And that's probably been the hardest thing. Well, not hardest, but especially going back to my hometown. Like, I've spent the last year there, where a lot of, as you were saying, like when you start to shift things in your life consciously, physically, you start to attract what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you are doing breath work and ice bars and just being healthy, you're attracting healthy people because that's your vibration.
Yeah.
So not saying that anyone in town, Ballarat, isn't unhealthy or anything, but then I just, over my course of from then to now, I've probably met more of my best friends in that part of the time. But then also just, there are a couple of the boys and stuff that I still really consider good friends. But I've been thinking about that also, being back in my hometown, as like, have I let the boys, like, let people down because I haven't, because I haven't stuck with them maybe?
No, man, I think it's the opposite. Like when you grow, it's up to other people to come with you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, you can't drag people, like you change, like, this is my new vibration or whatever you said. If people want to go with you, they'll go with you. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's all good to, like, you'll never forget those boys like you played footy with or like had school with, and those great memories, but that's not your future either.
No, exactly. And like, I look at parents, for an example, like mum and dad always said to us, like, once you have kids and you start taking them to school sport, you'll become friends with them. And, it's always an evolution. And that's what I started to realise with life is that, it's a constant evolution.
So tell us, I guess, going back to that thing where it snapped and you're like sitting in a jail cell in Manhattan or whatever, but then coming back and, giving real estate the flick after something you put years into growing, because we all know real estate takes years to get going, and you just gave it all away, and what happened next for you?
Yeah, so I sold everything.
Your house?
My house. Sold literally everything, like my Weber, everything. I miss it. I miss my Weber now. But
Cal's massive on the Weber. Yeah. He absolutely,
Webers are the best.
Yep. Shout out to Weber. If Weber's listening, Sam Young, Mirror Merch needs a new Weber.
Decided to pack it. I actually was engaged at that time as well. So then we parted ways, and then I was just like, this is my time. Like, I've always wanted to explore Earth, and I just thought money didn't, because I just disassociated myself with money in that time. I was like, all right, sold my house, looked at where I could live for a year without spending all my money, and I thought South America. And then, jumped on a plane and went to South America with one bag.
What happened? Did the ABC story in that, was that when you got back? Or that was when you got back? Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, so you tell your mum and dad and your sisters, who you said you're really close to, like, hey guys, like, my life's shit. I'm doing something else. I'm out. Like, were they like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, they were pretty supportive. They're just like, I don't know if mum and dad are honest with me, to be honest. It's just like, oh, yeah, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I wasn't really thinking about that.
I guess it goes one or two ways. And I guess, as a parent myself, you'd just be praying when that moment comes that, like, I would have thought that's a better alternative. At least the kids had a realization that the path they're on, drinking, smashing your car, being locked up's not where the path that you want them to go, And I would have thought just the commitment to not drinking, that commitment to, I would have thought those things are some positive signs, even though they would have been really concerned about you, but they would have been thinking, well,
Yeah, 100%, definitely.
So you sell all your shit, then what?
Yeah, and then so I was cruising over in South America.
Did you have a plan? Because I'm a massive. Oh, I hate that. I'm a massive planner, so that gives me anxiety just listening to that story. But I
was actually just rereading my notes that I'd put in my phone from like when I was on the plane and stuff like that. So it's cool to listen to what I was thinking and feeling in those moments. So touchdown.
Literally just a bag on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that was
one
it.
flight and
one
figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I had a big trek booked down the bottom of in the Patagonia region. So that's where I just knew that I had to kind of be there, and then
At some
everything
point,
else.
yeah.
Yeah. And then that's when I kind of fell in love with Earth and just like in awe of like
What else is out there?
what a mountain is, and
Yeah.
like I sound like a hippie now, but like I was just like, wow, like I could not believe like you're looking at these glaciers that are just floating, like
Yeah.
coming down mountains, and just beautiful scenery.
That's
and
what I was saying about, I was kind of joking but kind of serious. Like your Instagram feed's off the charts. Like you've been, and yeah, from a Ballarat boy as well. Like Lake Wendouree, and like that's kind of
actually
the highlight.
so beautiful.
Yeah, and then you get out there and see what else is there. It's yeah. So I guess how far into the trip? Because being alone too is really good for your mental health. It can be good or bad, I guess, for your mental health. But for me, it's good. When did like other things start clicking for you that this is what you're supposed to be like? This is what you're supposed to be doing, and what you're doing were previously doing is not you.
Yeah, probably. I probably didn't really. I honestly wasn't thinking. So like, I just wanted to have a year off with no, like, nothing to
No plan.
like, no plan, and no like. I wanted
Responsibilities, nothing to hold you back.
Because I felt like I just was influenced by a lot of things, and so I was doing whatever was in front of me, where I just wanted to stop and like whatever naturally came up to come up. So I always say, like, if I was meant to be a landscaper, like that would have naturally come to me. I just wanted to be sitting there feeling it, and then let whatever's naturally come to me, rather than like I was trying to construct my life, where now it was like I wanted it to like do its thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then just over that time, like, but then obviously that disease hit. So when I was over there,
That's right. Yeah.
so that put a halt to it, and then they were cancelling flights and stuff, and I didn't want to come home. But then mum and dad were like, come home, because like there's no flight, so I didn't want to get stuck in that country. And then like they were all like, they were yelling at us, thinking that we brought the virus over there.
Like, man, I've been here for months. Like,
so anyway, I flew back, and then got a camper van and drove up the east coast of Australia by myself.
so that was cool. It was good that you didn't let that end your story.
Well, that hit me for 6 when I got home, and I was back living with mum and dad. Like within 2 or 3 months, I was like, I had these plans to like see the world, and now I'm back at mum and dad's. I don't have a house. I've got nothing because I've sold it all. Yeah, I've just got.
Do you think
cash.
like your mental health was a little bit stronger than it had been? Like if that had that bit of adversity, you were slightly better, like mentally healthier than what you'd been because of that little holiday. It helped you get through that a bit?
For sure, definitely. And I think I look back at it and it was like, that was going to be a big distraction for me, I think, because like when you're walking through new environments and stuff, I wasn't really thinking about what was going on inside of me. I was like too busy worried about enjoying it. Yeah. So I think it forced me to come back and for me to sit and, as you were saying before, like take time by myself and sit in the van and just chill and just really think about who I was as a person.
Yeah.
And then, I think the more you start, like it's good, but then there's some bad times, because you do, like even this year's been tough sometimes, just rethinking about things, and just when you start to unravel who you are, you go through everything, like the good and the bad. Yeah. So I think, mental health is just a constant kind of thing for us.
I think, and again, like the number one thing I want people to get out of this episode is that what you said before around when your circle changes, your vibration changes, and people will be attracted. So making sure that if you've seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey, like honestly, that's the best metaphor, I think. Like when you just say yes to opportunities, like I'd never done an ice bath, I'd never done any of that sort of stuff, and just taking the opportunity to say yes to things and how it makes you feel, and it just changes you and stuff. And I think your story, whether when it was on the news, and it's just it's changed things for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Tell us about how ABC reached out to you and what happened there.
Yeah, so it was actually when you sent me the article, I forgot about it. Yeah, but, so they kind of reached out because my sister Molly. So Molly's been she's been super. She's kind of gone through her kind of shifts in life and a lot of heartbreak and stuff like that. And I've been fortunate enough that I can kind of follow in her footsteps in tools on how to get through things and unravel yourself. So she had built a platform called Bloom, which was like an audio platform for wellness. So it had like live like meditations and all that type of stuff. ABC reached out to both of us and just wanted to, obviously talk to me about like what I used
What
in it.
I don't want to keep your train of thought there. Why do you reckon you and her are maybe similar? Like, I don't know Ruby that well, but you know, so I guess she'd had struggles with mental health or like wellness or whatever. Or was it she was building that sort of stuff for you, or she was going through it as well?
Yeah, she was going through it all as well. But looking back, mum used to read us meditations as kids.
Really?
Out of a book.
That's pretty ahead of schedule.
Yeah. So, which was crazy. So that was like our bedtime story. She'd read meditations to us. So, which we didn't really understand. But then it's like mum and dad didn't really like the straight system of life.
Yeah.
So like we're just like prodigies of them in a sense, and that was just how because their souls combined, and then we just had that in us in a sense.
So ABC reach out, you and your sister, and what was the story about?
Yeah, so I think it was just about how like what tools I used in helping me get through my mental health kind of stuff.
Would you say you're like, is alcohol, was that an addiction? Would you say you're an addict?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I still got addictions, I think. Like, which I've still been trying to break through, but I feel, just trying to steer those addictions to the right things. Addiction was a big one. Like, drugs and alcohol. Like, if they were in the fridge, I'd drink them every night until they were gone. But if they weren't there, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's a problem though, because as you said, if they're there, you want to partake.
But I can't really remember exactly the story, but we were just talking about like what methods I used in doing it, and it was through meditation, obviously through my sister's app. And then, I remember I was like, during that time, I was kind of like started jumping into Port Melbourne water during winter and just started to feel like got introduced to Wim Hof and all that type of stuff. So, so when I was coming off alcohol, that's when I started to get really depressed and stuff like that, because everything that I'd kind of suppressed was coming up. And the doctors put me on antidepressants, and then I got off them pretty quick because I was just like, not saying that like for some people that work,
absolutely have to have it.
But for me, I was just like, I didn't want it to like dull my creativity, or just didn't want to shift who I was. So that's when I was like, all right, instead of taking these pills, I need to be doing stuff on my own self. Walking every day.
Drinking water, meditating.
All that stuff.
Yeah, cool. How do people find your sister's app and stuff?
Yeah, so she had that, and then they sold that and then created WellWeb, which is, I think Bloom's still going, and then WellWeb is like more of a video streaming platform. Which is still around. So if you just Google WellWeb. But there's so many out there now, which is so good. Like Calm.
It's a good attitude, man. You're not. It's not about competition and your sister making money from an app. It's more around. It's great that there's more competition and better resources for people.
100%. The more tools out there, the better. I think.
Tell us about, man. It's like it's a bit of a. I knew it was going to be like this. It's a spiritually kind of show, and it's a bit different to everything else I've done, but. I guess tell us next about your business, and because as I said, your circles change, your vibrations change, like you're into something different now, and then you've morphed that into Mirror Merch. Like, tell us about how that happened. So
Mirror Merch is an affirmation company. At the moment, we sell stickers. So I was kind of like, I was sitting in my van just below Byron Bay and just chilling, and for some reason, like I was just thinking of like, how can I create a business, A, that was small, B, that would help people, and C, it was kind of Instagrammable as well. Because I was like, this market lifestyle would be cool. Like, imagine just cruising around to Sunday market, you sell your $500 and then that's it for your week. So I was thinking of that type of thing, and like something that if I was moving around,
what's something I could take with me?
And then that's when I was like, stickers. And then like,
your background in.
Exactly. So then I was like, on mirrors. And then I was like, that would work. And then I remember I was like, no, when you take a photo, it's going to be reversed. So I remember I ran to the bathrooms at the caravan park and I put the sticker up and I was like, no, it's sweet. So I was like, thank God. Like that was fine. And then, then I just got the ball rolling. So my mate AJ at the time, like he was starting his own little business. And so that's what
was he doing?
He's got a few things, but he started Clean Sip, which is just like a clean drinking system. But but yeah, and then that's where I started, and then I built my website on the road kind of thing, and it just kind of flowed into it, same kind of thing. And then I remember I was camping one day, and the guy camping next to me was a sign writer, and he's like, "Oh, you can come and use my stuff," because I was going to the Gold Coast, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect."
Yep.
So when I got to the Gold Coast, I went and cut all the stickers for the first launch at his shop, just because I was camping next to him at this random place in New South Wales, which was crazy.
But you're a likable dude, man. It's not surprising. Like, it's just, yeah.
And then launched it back when I went to the Gold Coast. So yeah, I booked a Airbnb for 2 weeks on the Gold Coast, and I was like, I didn't know where I was going, and the Airbnb host was like, don't speak to the reception, because it was in like a hotel. So every day I'd walk past and I'm not looking, and they were cute girls, and I was like, oh, it's hard. Anyway, one of the girls was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" She's like, "You've been here for 2 weeks." I'm like, "Oh, I actually don't know what I'm doing." She's like, "There's a guy here looking for a roommate." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So anyway, I ended up meeting him, and he's like, "Oh, come have a look at the room." And it was on level 11, and 11 was my lucky number at the time. I was like, "Oh, this is meant to be." So I moved out of my Airbnb, which I didn't know where I was going after 2 weeks, up into this hotel, and I lived there for a year. And then that's where I really kicked off Mirror Merch, and life just started going. So Mirror Merch is really good. It's I'm treating it like its own entity. Where I'm not trying to force it. It's like a relationship between me and Mirror Merch. It's like I don't want to force the love on it. I just want it to do its thing. When it's flowing, and stuff like that.
I know you're not big to give it a plug, but obviously, so people can just jump on the website, and there's a heap of amazing ones on there. Like, I actually got decision fatigue trying to pick because they all felt good to me, but I ended up making my own. Which well, we took a photo of it, but we'll tag you guys and so people can see it. But I just think it's so subconsciously powerful to have positive stuff around you, and I just keep going back to, man, the vibe, the 5 people you hang around. It's a very common theme. We talk about it at nearly every show. Like, you are the 5 people you hang around, and I forget who said it, but someone said to me, it's pretty basic saying, but like, shit in, shit out. So if you're just consuming good stuff, good stuff happens, and that's why I love that brand, and it's just so you. It's so you, man. Just positive.
Shout it. No, it's something that, like I've fallen because I was in the moment. I was just kind of flowing with it. I didn't really understand it. So like, then I went traveling again. So like this year, it's been good to re-look at like what it is actually means. And I think it's so important. And that's why I chose like bathroom mirrors and stuff like that, is because we're brushing our teeth every day, and affirmations, which Molly got me into when I was kind of really in a slump. Like I would just read affirmations over and over and over and over to myself, and I think they can help people. And even if they're subconsciously not reading it, but if it says, there, I choose happy, or smile, or I am abundant, or something like that, it's just one little thing.
Don't have to sell it to me, man. I believe it. And cool. It was honestly, you got me. I haven't told you this, but my daughter, so like she's obviously just gone 3, but I say, right, Mackenzie, what are the 5 things you are? And she says to me, so my name's Mackenzie, I'm brave, I'm confident, I'm smart, I'm caring, and I'm kind. And so she's 3, and she, I got that from you. So,
wow.
Yeah, I
appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
But it's not just me, but it's like, and that's the thing. And it's hard when you run an online business, because you don't get to hear these stories and see what it's actually doing. Yeah. But when you hear and like,
man, maybe we're just business brainstorming, but I don't know. I think more people need to get on and share the story of what it's done for them, because for us, it's funny, I put the sticker up out the back, and ours just says you've got this, because as you know, real estate's hard, man. Like some days go really well and some days don't. And it doesn't matter how hard you try, you've been through it. Doesn't matter how hard you try, how good your intentions are. Things go wrong and it's your fault. Yeah. So I just try and tell the guys, like, Jess has had a phenomenal month. She's done sold 13 properties in 1 month, which is enormous. Cal's just like getting in the belly of it now, and just having those things subconsciously to just know you're on the right track and feel good. It's huge. Should be so proud of yourself. Like, one of the best things that's ever come out of Ballarat, I reckon, is Sam Young. But man, last thing, we're like way over time, but I just want to talk about advice for, I know there's apps and people can find it, but just from you, unscripted, I guess, advice for the 20-year-old you that's feeling lost, like they their mental health isn't good, they're not feeling good. As I said, like I wish I could have gone back and if my cousin could have hung on, you know, his life could have been amazing. But you know, he
was bright. He was a good-looking lad, like
dude. He reminds me.
like,
That's why I got such a connection and affiliation to you. Like I just feel him in you, and I just think that mental health is everything. So what are you saying to young guys who like aren't feeling good, or young guys or girls aren't feeling good? Maybe are masking it with alcohol or whatever. Like, how do you be brave, start to change the 5 people that you're with, and find a better vibration?
It's actually really,
it's a deep question,
it's really
bro.
tough.
Sorry,
I think get to the ocean, look out to the ocean, and realize how big that thing is. And I think that's what, when I went into the mountains, advice would be close your eyes and just feel like your body, and just take humans out of it, take society out of it, and think about what Earth is. And I think in the Untethered Soul, they say this is like, scoot yourself right out, look at the Earth. We're just floating on a rock in the middle of this universe. And when I say go look at the ocean, it's so big. And like when you actually think about how big we are on this beautiful planet, it's just like, oh shit, maybe that stuff that isn't really for me. Yeah, it's hard to explain.
No,
to be
I
honest.
get it. It's funny, when we were in
it's
Aric,
really hard.
we had a real estate conference in Aric, and it was go. We're drinking heaps of cocktails and that. But both mornings we got up at like 5 a.m. and Cal's originally he's from Geelong, but spent a lot of time in Noosa, and we went out, sunrise coming up like in the water. That stuff I wouldn't have done years ago. I just don't think you can underestimate how important your mental health is, and acknowledging that it's important and trying to do something about it. But brother, thanks so much for coming on the show. Like I said, we can talk for ages, and I hope you don't mind, but I'd love for people to reach out to you just for through Mirror Merch, get some of this stuff for them, because I think it's not just about making money, but it's good for people's mental health. And thanks for coming on and sharing your story. And
I'm honoured, mate, honestly. And I've loved seeing what you've done, your journey in making Geelong. Oh no, just putting your energy across Geelong, because I think you're a top bloke, mate. And I appreciate coming on.
Thanks, brother. Check's in the mail. Thanks, bro. Legend.